What is going on? Welcome to Heaven on Earth. I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic, and this is where I channel the sacred guidance for this astrological week of the 12th until the 18th of July. And it is a fiery, passionate, but kind of distractive kind of energy this week. It is Cancer, water. Sun in Cancer, Mercury came into Cancer, into, very soft, emotional Cancer. So we are thinking about our emotions and processing them analytically, as well as understanding everything that we've, been through with the new moon and all those things. And it is Mars and Venus and the moon currently on Monday in Leo. That is steamy, passionate intimacy. And when Mercury feels safe, when the sun feels safe, when we feel safe, when we think that we feel safe, and our energy is on point, oh, boy, that's zoof, energetic blasts, of romance, creativity, bursts, all those things. And I'm also, I am just very aware of the astrological weather also impacting the weather. I don't know much about it, but, currently in Spain, let's just look at the similarities without even linking it, because like I said, I don't really have that much knowledge of the physical weather and the astrological weather being, mixed together. I know that Mercury is linked to wind and all those things, but anyway. There is currently, I had to put myself inside, which is, by the way, why you're gonna hear an echo, because there's high ceiling here. But I can't be outside because it is storming wind, but it is 40 degrees. I've never seen this happening before. Obviously, it's a very common thing here in Andalusia, Spain, where we now have air coming from Morocco, Africa, all the way here, and it is fucking intensely hot. But besides even the being hot, it was also this very mystical, sandstormy kind of thing. And it's interesting because that's exactly a good analogy for this week. When everything is hot, there's more energy. And obviously when it's too hot, it is too hot. So we can, sometimes because of the extreme heat, be not as productive as we would. But it is summer. So there are, bursts of like, wow, I want to get out. I want to have some fun. And that's what the summer is about, like, yes, let's play. And this week, the same way, we want to play. We feel passionate. We feel creative. We feel on. But there are some points from time to time that distract us, that make us not as creative, because Mercury's semi-square Venus and Mars. There's creative projects that if we don't feel safe, if you don't really feel it, Mercury's gonna, throw in the towel. So we can, give up easily, I think, in that sense. It's all a mind game this week. But when we also have a sun trine Neptune, it's dreamy, it's being inspired, it is romantic, it is some good week for some good, sweet, loving, making energy. But with Mercury also semi-square Venus and Mars, we have to be aware of whatever we're creating. We're gonna feel so emotionally attached. And there's energy to do like keeping up appearances, like everything's fine, yes, yes, yes. Or if we don't get the attention that we want, right, it is like we're gonna front. And this is obviously, again, We're learning to process our emotions and see where we are, you know, emotionally attached to things and emotionally attached to our creations, and really to learn more about our ego in this sense. We got Mercury, Mars, Venus, the moon also at the same time, Monday, Tuesday, in energies where it is really about, you know, the ego and the self-image and developing that, you know. Then the moon goes into Virgo, and yes, you know, it's gonna square opposite Jupiter, and that's kind of a like it's not perfect enough, and or should I do more, or whatever kind of energy. But that's not that bad. There is like something I want to say about the sun becoming opposite Pluto in the heat of the, like in the most hot moment, and so the most light, and the sun trining Neptune, a little bit of distractions, you know, rose-colored glasses. It's all fine. It's all good. Let me have some fun. Come on, like, you know, we've been in lockdown for so long. Now I just want to fucking party. And this is where, you know, it's a fun energy. It's a nice enjoyment. Let's get out and do some cool shit kind of energy. But with Sun opposite Pluto, we have to be aware that that is the most tricky day of the year in that sense, where we might think there's a lot of light, a lot of positivity. We only see the light. And because of, you know, it's just more day than night. And we have less opportunity to see what's going on in the night and seeing less towards the dark. But in that moment, when we are having fun, playing, you know, it's like a distraction. It's like a Trojan horse kind of energy, I feel. Where we, you know, we don't have to be paranoid. We don't have to be like, oh, you know, looking all the time and stop having fun. I think we just have to be aware that, you know, how far are we taking this? And is it still because you want to have fun, or it's because like you want to be distracted? And there's the dark wanting us to be distracted, so that behind the scenes they can do whatever they want, and we're not seeing it, you know. And that's just something to be aware of. When you're drunk, your senses are, you know, not as on point as when you're sober. That kind of energy. And so it is kind of sneaky with the Sun opposite Pluto, Sun trine Neptune. There's something with our energy, with our vitality, with our ego, you know, again, you know, or it might be like, you know, you receive so much attention and people are saying, wow, that was fucking amazing. And you're like, really? Wow, thank you. But there's something behind that. You know, Sun opposite Pluto is a manipulative type of energy. But it's also, again, it's kind of that new moon opposite Pluto that I was talking about, where we have the opportunity and I think the energy available to think about the hidden powers. How afraid are we of our power, right? Because that's when we shy away from it, or, you know, just like we don't really believe how powerful we are. And that power now comes from trusting ourselves, which is the Sun in Cancer opposite Pluto, can get scared, can get, you know, seek its emotional security in something outside and wants to control and have, you know, keep the responsibilities. But it's just like in the surrender. And that's where I think the Sun trine Neptune is those people who surrender, you know, and I kind of feel I have to explain that the surrender energy right now is not about fuck it, letting go. You know, it's like, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. But it is in the realizing of the pain, of the emotional, you know, where you're scared. Let me just share a personal example, right? Which is a perfect Sun opposite Pluto kind of energy. I had to discover in the mountains of Barcelona, in Montseny, that I wanted to do this hiking. Well, it's not even hiking. It was like 3 days fasting, all alone by yourself, in the woods, in the mountains, and no food, no bed, no bedding, just you on the floor in the forest day and night. And I was like, that's me, because I've done survival courses and all those things. You know, I was like, fuck, I can do this, and I know how to fast. But I kind of knew, but I had forgotten how powerful my fear of the dark was. All right, so I'm there around 10:30. It's becoming dark, and I'm walking, and I knew I was kind of afraid, so I wanted to deal with it or just be with it. But the instincts were a lot more powerful than I could rationalize and just, you know, apply my meditation techniques and all those things. It's just my biggest fear, you know, to be there all alone and just afraid that something or someone might, you know, just, I don't know. It's just something in my head, right? And it's something from when I was little, and it is very irrational. And when you talk about it, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you be afraid? Like, there's no one there, there's nothing there, no one could come and harm you and all those things. But in the moment, it's when that energy, that power takes over. Now, I knew this, and, you know, I ran away, I came back to base camp, and I was like, I can't do this, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I was so, like, determined to deal with this. And it is my biggest fear. Let me be clear. I was not able to do it. I had to run away. I was fucking scared. But I was like, okay, you know what? I conquered anxiety attacks in my life. I know how it's like to deal with fear. I can deal with this as well. So every night I'm going to go out and I'm going to deal with this fear. And so I did. The first night, actually, I made a decision to whatever dialogue in the head that would come, to not pay attention to it. So I did. And I walked, and I could hear that voice, like, oh my God, you know, someone's here gonna kill you. You know, what if someone has been following you? What if there is an animal, you know, that is here to whatever, like a snake or whatever, and it bites you, and you're here all alone in the woods, and no one's gonna come and help you, and you're gonna die, you know? And I heard that voice. Moreover, I don't think it's really just, I understood, and I understand even better now whilst I'm talking about it, that the voice in your head is a translation of the emotional energy. And that emotional energy is a blueprint. And emotions come from the past, because they definitely have, you know, stored energy, stored memories. It is energy that has lived in the past, and now you've taken with, and you've built your self-image around. And that is what gives you emotional security and safety. And so that part, I understood. And I said, it's just about really letting those emotions talk, as if there's someone talking to you, but not just compassionately listening and not engaging in that dialogue where I could do that. And then something very powerful happened. And this is the whole reason that I'm talking about this, is that energy transformed into, I felt like a fucking king. Like, I can deal with anything. Wow, fuck. I've conquered that fear, even if it was just a little bit, right? It was so powerful. The energy, I felt it transform into self-confidence, into power. And that is how small of a bridge or small of an overlap that just can happen, a switch that needs to happen. And that is this week too, with Sun opposite Pluto. Fears that come up. And you, Sun trine Neptune, escaping, Mars and Venus in Leo, having some fun. But Pluto nagging and behind the scenes, trying to, keep you down, that inner dialogue, like, no. But if you understand that that dialogue is linked to emotions, which are emotions and feelings from the past, and if you can just let them talk, just like that, and not engage in it, and just talk back and say, that's all right, I know you're there, it's okay, I'm just not gonna engage with you, and make a firm decision. That's when you can transform that energy into power and self-confidence, because then it knows it cannot have power over you. And that means you're no longer feeding that fear. And the fear needs the emotion and the dialogue to keep your ego in the dark. But if you don't let it, it releases, because it can no longer live. And then that energy is released, and you can actually use that energy to, you don't even use it, it just happens by itself, But it is about a firm decision, a firm intention. And that's really what that's about. And I think this week, we just got to be aware. We got to be aware of those energies playing behind the scenes. Go and have some fun. But if there are moments where we might become too proud, which is Leo energy, or become too attached, or the other way around, Mercury semi-square Venus and Mars, think that it is not perfect enough. That even if you've delivered your best painting, best book, best meal, whatever, and then still criticize yourself, that's when the dark arises. And that's when you have the power. When you decide beforehand, we have to decide beforehand to not engage. But let it be there. And that's the ultimate letting go and emptying the cup. And that's a lot of healing energy this week. We just cannot get distracted too much. And I'm just, it is a really beautiful, powerful week of a lot of love, creation, romance. Let me be very clear about that. But it's in the little things. The little things eventually becoming big. And we can this week make a decision to not let that happen. Much love, the Leo Mystic. Peace.